just when I calm down, you get me all whipped up again.
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stephanie. I might have forgotten my sarcasm font on Twitter. I don't know.
Yes,
Might have forgot to hit Control S.
I am, as I've mentioned, we're Veruca Salt and Pepper, because I am frequently also impatient for justice, and then someone calms me down, and then I get whipped up again. But this is exactly what we were afraid of, right? Is the House Republicans now are going to make, black is white, up is down. It is the false equivalency between these two cases of classified documents. Let's start there. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, the Republicans, the House Republicans are going to beclown themselves for 2 years chasing their own tail. Jim Jordan is nothing more than a sentient Rottweiler, right? Like he's drooling at the mouth, and he's just gonna bark, and he's gonna chase whatever car rolls down his street. I think it's important for the media to not cover the Republican Congress as if it is a legitimate body, right? And I'm not saying that it's illegitimate in terms of like they got the most votes. They did, thanks New York State Democrats for screwing that up for everybody.
Thanks for your keen intuition on George Santos.
In terms of their vote getting abilities. Yeah. I'm saying that it's not a serious exercise of governmental power, right? That like the Republican Congress exists to produce clips for Sean Hannity's broadcast at night, and we should understand them and cover them like that, because nothing that they're doing is, for lack of a better word, serious. Like nothing that they're doing is serious. It's seriously annoying. It's seriously problematic. But nothing that they're doing is going to be passed. Nothing that they're doing is going to become law. It's just going to be a bunch of sentient Rottweilers barking at each other and basically trying to rip apart Hunter Biden's laptop.
Well, I think it is a problem in the sense.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I hear you. It is a problem in the sense that what was the tweet this morning, Travis? Every person on the Homeland Security Committee asked for a pardon for trying to overturn the homeland. I mean, how is that not a problem, right? I mean, it's just...
Well, part of this is going to be how the Biden administration reacts to the Republican Congress, right? Now, I think that we have a precedent here where we had a former president, Donald Trump, simply ignore every attempt at congressional oversight, every congressional subpoena. He just simply ignored it, right? So if it's good for the goose, well, why is it not good for the gander, right? Like, if I'm the Biden administration, I ignore literally everything coming out of the Republican Congress, just like Republicans did, just like Trump did the Democratic Congress for 2 years. I mean, and we talked about this, Stephanie, in real time, right? We talked in 2018 and 2019, in 2019 and 2020, when Trump officials were ignoring congressional subpoenas. We said, if this is the standard, that standard needs to be applied when the roles are reversed. Well, now the roles are reversed, and it's just a question of whether or not Democrats have, the gumption, basically, to do exactly what the Republicans did and ignore congressional subpoenas for 2 years. That's how I would roll.
Yeah, I hear you. And by the way, you said it best on Twitter. We've talked about this in the wake of New Mexico. First of all, this guy lost his race by 50 points. Right, or 50%, and
wasn't close.
And right, so he lost and was just arrested for shooting and hiring other people to shoot at multiple local Democratic officials' homes. You said totally on brand for the Republican Party. Actually, they are the party of political violence, and the press needs to start reporting that. This is not just January 6th now, right?
Tell me how I'm wrong.
Yeah,
these people support violent insurrectionists. They support lies and conspiracy theories that lead to more violence, and most importantly, and this is why I think you can say that the Republican Party is the party of political violence, most importantly, they don't call it out and help the rest of us protect ourselves from the political violence, right?
Yeah.
So, like, even if you want to argue that the Republican Party doesn't actively encourage the violence, I think that's a bad argument. But even if you want it to go that far, the fact is that they don't help us hold the violent people accountable.
Yeah.
And so since they don't help us stop the violence, we can only assume that they are for the violence, and that's their party. That's their brand now. And the scary thing, I think, Stephanie, is that they're comfortable with it. Right? It's not. There are lots of things that I will say that will get me flagged and tagged and hated on by Breitbart, on Elon Musk's Twitter, and I'm kind of used to that, right? But when I say the Republican Party stands for political violence, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They know it.
Yeah.
They're okay with it.
Well, and I keep asking, has anyone asked Carrie Lake for her, thoughts on what happened in New Mexico? I mean, this is the same. And you had tweeted, well, Carrie Lake says if the appeals court doesn't overturn the election and declare her winner, the U.S. will become Venezuela. And you said, not sure the Venezuelan Navy has the right to annex us, but it's worth a shot, I guess.
Right?
But yeah,
Venezuela. I mean, I love the Venezuelans, but their military capabilities, I don't think are such that they can annex the United States. But again, it's part of the Republican fear mongering machine. Carrie Lake, I'm surprised she has time to tweet when she's not so busy fixing her Instagram filters. Really up on that. But look, these are the crazy people that the Republican Party stands for. What's interesting, right, is that these are the crazy people that keep getting rejected.
Yeah.
Right. Like the voters of have come together here and told us in the last election that the thing that they don't want are these crazy conspiracy theorists and election deniers, and yet the Republican Party is still tied to them and in their thrall and promotes them. And we're seeing that throughout the Republican Congress. The people with the most power are the craziest people, right? It is the Jim Jordans, it is the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, it is the Lauren Boeberts that have the power in this Congress. It's not Kevin McCarthy. Kevin, as we all saw with his, and look, Stephanie, you know me, I do not like to kink shame. So if you've got a humiliation kink, that is fine for you, and I don't judge. But we saw Kevin McCarthy play out his humiliation kink for an entire week on national television, right?
Yeah.
He's not. How can you go through that and have anybody think that you're actually in charge?
Yeah.
He's not in charge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Unfrozen cavewoman Congresswoman Taylor Greene is in charge.
Sorry. Pardon me. I need to recover. So, George Santos, drag queen or not, will this finally be the bridge too far? Or if they pass their laws banning drag queens, will that apply to him in Congress, or what do you think?
So now, George Santos, I mean, I remember when he, people make fun of him. I remember when he starred in The Birdcage, and he was awesome opposite Nathan Lane. He was great in that movie. Look, now you're getting close to my home because I grew up on Long Island. I went to school I went to a preppy high school in George Santos's district. I know these people. Right. I know the Republicans who voted for George Santos. And what I can tell the rest of America about these people is that they don't give a hoot except for tax cuts. That's all they want. They're sitting there on their yachts. If you think about the archetype of Anthony Scaramucci, right? Before he became a meme, what was he? He was a New York Republican who had his issues with Donald Trump, but really wanted those tax cuts, man. just really needed those tax cuts like a crack addict needs a hit, right? Like that. That's how they are, and that's basically his whole district on the North Shore of Long Island are a bunch of Republican-leaning people who don't give a hoot about anybody or anything else other than taxes.